Hello and welcome to the back nine of the lead card for the 2023 Nantucket Open. This is the MPO division. We have an amazing card. In the booth, I have Harry Chace. Thanks for coming back for the fourth session here.
Of course, Raivis, glad to be here. And we have the exciting conclusion of one of Massachusetts' biggest B tiers. We see the scores for the front nine, a tight race at the top. And we'll see who can come away with the win.
Yeah, like you said, it's a very tight race, but let's take a look at who had the really hot front nine. It was Kyle Moriarty, Steve Brinster with a 4 down, and they're all very close, neck to neck, 9 and 8 down, and Paul has 10 down. So a big shout out again to the volunteers of Nantucket, and of course Todd Rainwater, Nantucket Disc Golf Club. And of course, let's take a look back at some of the past champions as well as some of the past competitors in Nantucket playing this amazing course, what John Huff designed and what Todd Rainwater brought to life.
Wow, pretty sweet here. I saw a young Dylan Cap, Ricky with the shopping bag, Stevie B taking it down, 2015, I believe. And wow, we even have some weddings going on here. Shout out to the Oakleys.
Yeah, it's just a beautiful getaway, vacation spot, destination. And I am just honored that Greatest Media Team, as well as myself, are able to continue the tradition of what Chris Collette and other past TDs have been able to put forth together here.
Well, I'll tell you what, when next year's tournament comes around, let's hope for the memories and the weather that we see here, because look at Zach and Austin looking sharp.
Yeah, and that's what they're going to be winning, those 2 jackets. That's part of the championship package here. And some final round GMT notes: protect your scores as much as possible. Can Paul Krans keep the lead versus some of the veterans? And watch out for Josh DiBattista and David Fleck, who are on the hunt for some big chase card action.
All right, and here's snapping back to reality. Miserable rain, but we still got 9 more holes. Who is going to pull it out? We got Steve with the box.
Now, mind you, Steve has 4 birdies in a row to finish the back nine on the front, so he's off to a good pull right there. And the rain has not given up, folks. This is, like you said, 7 hours later, and here is Casey. Let's see, that signature disc of his is this Cloudbreaker.
Yeah, normally when I hear 7 hours on the weekend, I think of NFL Red Zone, and I get really excited, but the rain here is coming down, like we've said before. And this hole is tricky. I mean, I wouldn't say that the back nine is really harder at Nantucket, but it certainly is more technical. And because of the rain, it is going to play harder today, as we have wads thrown a bit too low, and it's just kind of an awkward fairway if you're not in the middle.
No one's really in the perfect landing spot other than Steve, I think. You're going to see Paul. He's going to be actually way too right. He got caught up on the right side. He's just going to have to pitch up for par. Steve, this is an excellent spot for him. Almost textbook or routine shot for him, but just doesn't get the fade. But he'll have a look for a birdie.
Look at that tree behind him, too. Not only was the rain still coming down, but it started to be really windy at this point, and a lot of these holes coming up are exposed to the wind. It's going to be a true test. I've heard a few players say that obviously nobody likes the rain, but a good rain tournament once in a while really shows who has the mental fortitude to come out with a win.
I would say right now, Kyle Moriarty and Steve Brinster have the advantage in the rain in terms of this round and this lead card that we've seen so far. Paul Krans has a few birdies, but he hasn't had as many as Steve and Kyle, and has been parring a few here and there.
Wow, what a putt. Stevie B for 5 in a row, I think.
Yeah,
I mean,
incredible.
That flag was whipping, and he hit that dead center. You're really right about, the experience when it comes to rain, when it comes to wind. I mean, especially for people here, everyone knows that this course is a birdie fest, and it's sometimes a hard pill to swallow when they're just not following, but you just have to realize the conditions that we're in, the scores of the other people. Steve's stringing it together despite the conditions.
Mm-hmm. And Casey's lead really helped him here. I mean, he was -7 going into the front. He's -9 now, and he's one back from Paul, so he has some work to do in order if he wants to catch up to these boys. Hole 11, 571 feet. This is a par 4 and an average 4.36. One of the toughest holes of the day. So, like you said, it gets more technical, and I think it gets actually a little more difficult.
Absolutely. And we saw Steve try to go huge round one with a big turnover over the big tree on the right. This time he plays the fairway, and I mean, he just played that perfectly. It looked like the wind tipped it at the perfect point. He doesn't have one of these, though. Power sidearm. That looks great
So
for
many
Paul.
of these from Paul today. I mean, and honestly, what Steve just did was a dream shot backhand for this hole. Paul just made it look a little effortless with his forehand, and here is his DD1 Casey White. Very good rip and pull.
See if Kyle can pick it up a little bit. He had that really hot start. Hole like this, he's been dialing up that forehand. That looks great as well.
Yeah, I mean, just textbook. Very professional, and that was most likely his smush destroyer. Shout out to the Disc Golf Bras. And here's Casey for his second shot on hole 11. I think this is one of the tougher middle packs of for holes in this course. And you can see Casey kind of a little struggling there. Wad's textbook forehand. He's going to have an easy birdie look.
But even with a good drive, this is still certainly a 2-shot hole. Technical, as I mentioned, and just leaks that one a little bit, and it's going to be punished for it.
Yeah, that was his MD3, and just not able to get around that batch. This batch is so difficult. Here's Steve. Oh, man. I thought he was going to be a little better spot than that off his drive. He just got punished by going a little too deep. And Paul giving it a bid, it feels like there. At this point, would you play aggressive or would you play safe if you were Paul?
I mean, Paul's such a solid putter that if he's within 20 feet, it's pretty much a tap-in. I mean, he's got the lead right now, but I'm not really sure if it feels like it. It's a pretty close contest. I mean, his floaty bids, he'll give it a run from just about anywhere, and he's pretty confident with the comebacker. So,
yeah, and here's another birdie for Kyle. Is looking strong out there. He just caught up. Bang. Good putt. Like you said, the wind and rain is really not affecting him. He even has his hoodie down. Look at this, all bunched up. 9, 9, 9, 10. And great putt by Casey just to make sure that he seals his par. Remember, one of the GMT notes was protect your lead and protect your scores at all costs. So, even at -9, every tap-in, every 20-footer is so meaningful.
hold on. What do we have here? The technical hole 12. I'm not sure if that was a roller attempt. Looked like he laid down the roller.
When Watts doesn't know what to do on a hole like this one, he's going to do some strange things. I mean, I think that's the third different shot I've seen from him in the last 24 hours.
Interesting. And I mean, if any hole is going to give you problems, this is the one. A lot tighter than it appears on camera. You're just surrounded by limbs, surrounded by trees. It's very easy to get your shot swallowed up and into the rough here.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Second hardest hole of the day. Oh, Casey getting an unfortunately kick to the right. He was taking his FD3, very similar to what Paul Krans was doing. And this is just a shot that I had to take because I've never seen Wads in a jam like this. I mean, he's very, very, flexible and nimble. And this is one where he took a little bit of a moment and did something like that. So you could just see he's just, after such a really hot start. I mean, I was surprised for him to be unsettled like that.
Wow. Obviously, the same thing can happen if you throw a forehand or a backhand. I saw it multiple rounds, but I don't think he'll be doing that play again next year.
I mean, second hardest hole. And this is, when I get to this hole, I always just say, please par, just please par, and then move on. Pulling it low there, very uncharacteristic shot for Paul Krans there, even though he was in a great spot. Here's Steve Brinster. He was landing here off the tee, most likely taking a rock. And what a beautiful pull by, oh, if he could only just get past that, he was going to be parked. You can see he's not happy, but should have it easy up and down for a par, maybe even birdie. That was a great shot by Casey. This is so New England golf here, I feel like.
Yeah, that was really well done. And at the end of the day, whoever wins this tournament, you're gonna see the drives, you're gonna see the putts. But this is really what counts on a day like today. These shots, how close can you get them from tricky situations? I mean, the winner's only going to be around 10, 11, 12 under, you got to guess, with how hard these holes are coming up. So it's really coming down to those up shots.
Especially at this pace of play right here. Yeah. So here's Steve Brinster for his birdie, and he made this on hole 9, very similar putt. Didn't want to give it too much juice. I understand that. And taking his par, I'd be happy with that. Here's Casey for his par. Not an easy gimme. Good par save.
Well earned there from Casey for sure.
He didn't give up on that hole. That's what I like to see. So now, I don't want to jinx it, but it seems like the rain is letting up a little bit. Just in time for hole 13. This is a 526-foot hole, par 4. Get him out of the shoot type of shot, and then you're going to have a hyzer approach. Here's Steve Brinster, most likely taking his destroyer.
Yeah, and this is such a satisfying hole to play, such a great hole to get right. It kind of appears from the tee pad as one of the easier holes, being only 526 and a relatively wide gap versus the last few holes, but it is, once again, definitely a 2-shot hole, especially in today's conditions. And just feels really good to lace this shot. We'll see if Casey's got it in him. Oh, yeah.
Good pull by Casey there. That was his cloud breaker.
Great commitment on the hyzer. There's definitely a little bit of a headwind coming through this tunnel. So leans into it, a lot of angle, flips up at the perfect time, and you should have a gimme approach from there.
This is one of my favorite holes, actually, on the back 9. I think this is just... Oh, another bad kick. But him and Steve Brinster should be very similar placed here. So let's see if they can save this birdie from way back here. This has got to be almost 400 feet. It's all about the birdie saves and par saves at Nantucket. I mean, this is how the pros play it. So they're definitely going to play aggressive on something like that, which I like to see. And here is Watts. Just not getting the early hyzer, but kicking down for an easy par should be.
Wow. A little bit of a miscue there from Paul. Was so close. I think he just wanted to just give it his normal chip, but you see these Nantucket skips, and they're real. He might be outside the circle. We see Casey throwing an ante to land it flat. Very good pro play there, mitigating the skip. And, I mean, you could just see the wind whipping it. It's way easier said than done.
Yeah, almost throws it in there by Waz. Let's go back to Paul's play there. That was actually 2 in a row shots that we've seen approaches that he almost uncharacteristic, where he's throwing them low to the ground. Do you think it's the fatigue? Do you think it's the pressure of having the lead against some of these legends? I mean, that wasn't very Paul-like.
Yeah, I don't know if it's about that. I mean, you see him with the signature taco disc right there. Definitely gave that one away, but I mean, that's Paul's game. I mean, every time I see him throw forehands or forehand approaches, he really likes a hyzer release. He likes to have it skip from left to right. And out here in Nantucket, these skips are crazy. I mean, you sometimes have to play it 30, 40, 50 feet left, depending on if you're a righty forehand player and depending on the speed of the disc. So I think he just was caught up in the moment. He rushed that one, and you saw it. I mean, he pinned it. It just skipped outside the circle. So we'll see if he can correct on the next few holes.
Hole 14, by the way, that was a very meaningful birdie for Casey on hole 13. Now he's tied up with Paul. Casey's going to be throwing his FD1. He likes to go driver on this 283-foot hole just to make that gap. That gap is very difficult to hit. Oh, awesome. Oh, no. What tree did he hit? It looked like he pured that.
Yeah, this hole is full of little trees that just make you shake your head. And, yeah, it's a hole like this that you step up to on a calm day and really give yourself a pretty decent chance at birdie. But today with the wind, it's so technical, very tight gap. Turns into a difficult hole.
Yeah, it turned into a 3.15 hole instead of a 2.8 hole. And here's Wads. No one's really been able to get all the way up there other than Casey. And here's Paul, just a simple tactic approach. Doesn't even look at it. Michael Johansson did.
Yeah, he threw his soft tactic there and threw it much more flat, so no skips there to be had. Staying at 10-9.
Steve Brinster, can he jam another one? I'm going to be rooting for him now because he's hit a few of those and he's had a hot streak this round. Casey, very similar putt from round 1. Oh, almost. Just a little low, but he should be able to save his par here. Let's just make sure it seals the deal. Good job, Casey. He's a solid putter on the Circle 1. Circle 2 is a little tough, obviously, with the rain today, but he's showed some really good comeback putts. Very high confidence putts, too.
Yeah, he's got a very unique putting style. Really puts his body into it more than a lot of other pros. And I will say it certainly helps him in the wind. Like that crouching ninja style putt to get really low. He's really good at changing up his body, but keeping his arm the same and able to hit a lot of awkward putts from awkward situations.
Yeah, and you're right. He's all about that angle and the depth. Let's see what he does on hole 15 with his Vanguard. Little short, but he's tied up, so he doesn't really need to push or be too aggressive off the tee on this one.
This is one of those Houck Design signature dual fairways. We see people going the right side right now. There is a left side. Because of the swirling wind, it's a little bit less favorable, or else I think we'd see more players doing it. But a great drive. Truly just drove the disc straight. Hyzer getting a little skip up there. We'll see where he ends up.
I feel like Steve's just way more consistent this round than he was round 1.
Yeah, definitely agreed, as we do see this left side here from Paul.
Oh my gosh, what an amazing shot with this cloud breaker. Oh my god.
Yeah, Paul's a player that will really stick to what is working that day or what's working and just is comfortable for him in that moment. I mean, I've seen him throw some really good forehands, but I've never really seen him be forehand dominant quite the way he is right now.
Yeah, Nantucket really just brought it out in him. And Kyle just sort of playing the wind there. He was trying to forehand it, and then it turned into a forehand roll a little bit, but he's going to have to scramble for his par. And this is a really unbelievable shot by Casey. That was just really amazing. He still circles 2 edge, but I really like the flex. I really like the fade. Great shot, Casey.
Wow, yeah, that was perfectly played. If he can come away with a birdie with a long putt there, that will really be one of the shots to remember going down the stretch.
I was thinking the same thing. Yep. Steve, great play there. He's got to be happy with that. And here, I mean, Paul, textbook FD3 gets a little bit too much bounce. You're right. He gets
Yeah.
a lot of kick on
You
his
see, I
forehand.
mean, that's his angle. He likes throwing forehands on that angle, and obviously it normally never skips that much. And you can see, oh, Casey almost came up with it.
That was aggressive, but I guess he had to.
But yeah, I mean, back to Paul. I mean, that's his comfortable angle, and you could see he did aim very far left, probably outside the circle, and only has a 22-footer because of it and cashes it. So great correction there. But yeah, he throws with a lot of spin, a lot of angle. He likes the hyzer release, low, skippy, and able to correct.
Able to correct and able to take the advantage on Casey with the birdie. This whole average 4.36, so he just took 1.36 strokes on the field there with that amazing putt and amazing play. Good play for Steve Brinster there as well. He's got a few birdies on this back nine.
And going back to our earlier conversation about Paul Krans as we see him drive on the 16th hole, straight and narrow. That's definitely one way he can level up his game. And we see the importance of these sloped greens and fairways on the Pro Tour. And if he can find a way to change his angles a little bit, land the disc flat, that's just going to add another level to his already incredibly polished game and will really allow him to compete on the highest level.
The putts will be a little bit shorter and it'll be more birdies. I like this hole, 526 feet, really straight like you were talking about. But with the wind, this gets incredibly difficult. And Steve was not he said, I'm not going to have to worry about the wind because I'm going to keep my disc very low. So there's a pro tip for anyone looking how to beat the wind.
Kyle trusting the hyzer. A little bit of an awkward wind. It wasn't quite a headwind, but wow, what a roll. But yeah, I had seen videos before coming out here about this hole and how it looks just so easy, maybe even an eagle opportunity with a great drive.
Yep.
That is just absolutely impossible today. Just a wall of wind.
Yeah, averaging 4.3. If you get a birdie on this is an incredible birdie. And it's weird because you're right. It's so open and it's not even that long. And you think you should get more birdies, but it's just very difficult when you have to have a 300-foot shot on your second shot because you can't really bite off too much on the first shot. I mean, You saw Steve.
This was definitely the windiest hole of the day, for sure. It's where my umbrella broke. I saw other players lose things.
And I actually saw it too on this once, and it was Calvin Heinberg. And it was incredible play back in 2019, I believe, 2018, excuse me. And he had one of the best rounds of his life. Second round, I think he shot like 12 or 13 down. And one of those was an eagle on this hole.
And here we see Casey laying up for his par, and as well as Paul Krans.
All right, Steve at 9 down. This is really a must-make if he wants to contend for the win.
Absolutely. And I think he probably felt the pressure there. Not saying that he can't handle it, but that was a very meaningful putt for him there. Here's Kyle taking his par, totally fine after being in the woods on his second shot.
Yeah, and I think one thing we have yet to mention is that this round all ends on hole 18. And hole 18 not only is a par 5, so a lot of room for stroke separation, a lot of things to happen, but is also playing as the hardest hole of the day. Oh. So no lead is going to be safe going to that hole.
Hole 17, this is very meaningful, very signature hole at Nantucket and very similar to hole 2. Let's see what Paul does here. Great shot by Paul, but I believe he's just like circle's edge. He's not going to be as close as it looked on camera.
Yeah, this is a very unique hole, very deceiving. A few lines, but I think a lot of backhand players are going to like this right line. As Casey just pulls this FD3 a little too wide.
I would have loved to see Casey get up there and give a little bit of pressure to Paul and make it a little closer there. Well, I think Steve Brinster's thinking about his flight that he just pushed off to the next day. So I'll give him a little break there. But incredible shot by Wads there. And did Wads do like an outfit change or something?
He took the yellow jacket off. I might have felt like it was restricting him a little bit. And this is at the point where the rain really started slowing down. So, I mean, he's too back. He needs to change up something. He needs to light some fire. Maybe it's taking the jacket off.
He hasn't gotten a birdie since hole 11, so you're right. You're absolutely right. He needs to kind of do something, a little rally here. And here's Paul. You can see the circle right there. It's about 5 feet past it, so about 38 feet.
Huge to go up 2 and just too high. And we see him slam the disc as well. A lot of
see 2 of those. I guess they're copying each other. Okay, so here's Kyle. Changed his outfit.
I mean, I would call it a missed opportunity from Paul, but I mean, 40 feet. You can just see how windy it is right now.
Yeah.
And I know Paul is a great player, and he still knew he could make it, and of course he could. But
wow, uncharacteristic miss by Steve there. Left side weak chain there, kind of splashed out, taking a bogey, his first bogey since hole 5. Ooh. But either way, he's had a killer round, and he's going to walk away with a lot of money. I mean, we haven't talked about the money, but the winner is going to get almost $1,500, and then the second place is about $1,000. So a lot of big money here.
Yep, and with these numbers right here, it's really looking to be a 2-horse race on this card, at least, heading in the last hole. We got Paul at 11 down, Casey at 10 down, and like I said, the treacherous hole 18 awaits, hardest hole on the day.
Yeah, and I would be amiss if I didn't talk about Josh DiBattista. He is 8 down at this moment through 17 holes, which is insane round. I mean, what we've seen is some of these scores be around 5 and 4, double that for Debo.
I think we're good now. Yeah.
All right, so here we go. Paul Krans electing for the middle gap, it looks like.
Yeah, put this Nordic Phenom, PD.
Oh, he shanked it a little bit.
There was a substantial wait between 17 and 18. I want to say about 10, 15 minutes long. If it wasn't for that wait, I think Paul Krans would have absolutely hit that line.
Casey going with the Vanguard doesn't really hit his line either, but there's a lot more open space on the left side.
Yep, a little more.
He's going to get away with that.
And he got another 150 feet from Paul, so that's very significant on this hole.
More traditional route. Yeah, great shot from Kyle.
And that's what he needs. I mean, if he can push an eagle, right?
Right. I mean, he's not out of it. I mean, even a birdie. I mean, Paul could be in bogey position. A birdie could do it and get him to 10.
That's true. He probably could sense that Paul's in a little bit of trouble, so he made sure to put a big rip on that, and so did Steve. Big shout out to Buzzies. That was actually the first place that I met Steve Brinster and was able to watch him play and take down a championship back in like 2015. Very cool course, very local, but I've been watching Steve Brinster for a very long time, and that was one of the first times I've ever met him. Great pull by Paul Krans to save his second shot and get a little bit more distance. He's still going to have at least 500 feet to go.
Casey looking for a late flipper down this hallway, and he gets it.
Oh, did he nick that?
I don't know. I don't know if it redirected him. I think he may have just.
That was an incredible shot.
He may have just missed it. using all of the fairway here.
I think
Looks
that
at
was origin.
It looks at first that it's going to hit those, comes off of it. Beauty.
That was an incredibly fortunate placement shot for Casey there. Here, Steve Brinster's on his second shot. He made sure that he went straight because he, as you recall from the first round, he actually got in a lot of trouble on this hole and suffered a double bogey. So like you were saying, this hole is not only the most difficult, but it could just blow up your score.
Kyle looks to be in birdie position. That's something to watch here, but this is really a huge shot. Paul, oh, does he get smacked down?
Yeah, that's not good.
No, he's going to have to execute a really good shot just to save a par now.
Whew. All right, so Steve gets all the way up there with his roller. He's definitely not going to get a double bogey on this one.
Wow, he's still in it too. This is so crazy. All right, we see Paul changing up the angle, going to an anti-release, and oh man.
If you see the taco, it usually doesn't mean a good shot from him.
No.
And Kyle, look at this. He could throw whatever you go.
Oh my God. There are so many things that could happen right now. It's hard to keep track of, but I mean, like I mentioned, Paul's go-to angle is the hyzer forehand. He tried to go to a flat one there and just isn't as consistent with it yet. It was definitely the right shot at the time.
Yeah, and that was a good shot by Casey. I mean, he's putting the pressure on Paul here, so Paul's really got to hit this for par.
You know he's trying to make it. Oh my gosh.
What a bid.
This may be one of the most exciting GMT finishes we've ever seen. I mean, this is huge right now.
I agree. It's very close. Oh man, I thought Watts was way closer than that. I didn't realize he went that deep.
Wow, I think he needed
Casey
to make that.
If he makes this, he takes one on Paul and goes minus 11. Wow. So that is his
Wow, what a birdie from Casey.
Yeah, and to get a birdie on this hole, like you said, it averaged 5.76. So, I mean, this is insane. Almost 2 strokes on the card.
Huge birdie.
Huge. And at this moment, I don't even know if he knows about Josh DiBattista's score because Josh Debo's score hasn't come in yet. But Josh Debo does end up actually birdieing hole 1. And we got our playoffs, another GMT playoffs. We had one last year at the Granite State Tour. So this is actually the birdie on hole.
So that was actually for par.
Oh, to par, yeah.
So Debo had, I was playing with him. He was already 9 down for the round, and we told him the scores had just come in. We told him you just need a par for the playoff, birdie for the win, par for the playoff. Tough hole. He ends up taking a par. And here we go. Casey White, Josh DiBattista for the championship. Let's go.
Yeah. This is so exciting. I mean, our camera could barely keep up with the lighting here. It was so dark outside.
I mean, I'll tell you, this camera's doing an incredible job. It was nearly pitch black at this point, honestly.
Yeah, but it gets dark quick. You're going to see here. And Debo kind of struggling on hole 1. I mean, he just played this hole. This is his 3rd shot. I mean, Casey's in a great spot just for a pitch.
Yeah, this might be it. We might have a one and done here.
All right, Casey, getting a little skip. A little short.
All right, so here we go. Casey White for the win.
Would you lay up?
He's not laying up.
But would you?
Oh, he is laying up. Okay. Okay. I don't think I would personally, but here we go. So Debo, this might have been a smart choice. Crosswind, 50-footer. Debo needs to make this, and he's actually putting with a Malta, not his normal putter.
It's so windy that he chose a Malta on this putt here.
Oh, no way. Josh DiBattista, what a putt.
Let's go. This is an extremely important standings too, because this is for the Sunstein. For Debo, this is if he gets first or second or third, he'll get into the Sunstein Grand Prix finale.
Wow, look at that flag. I mean,
Shout
what a
out to
putt. 50
Todd
footer.
Rainwater for that camera right there.
Unbelievable. Putts with a mid-range. I mean, who does that? I mean, it's Josh DiBattista we got right here.
Yeah, incredible. And at this point, I don't know how my camera was even able to see anything, because I swear to you folks, I could barely see anything.
Listen, we got like Idlewild vibes right now. Casey actually blowing up his FD3.
And he parks it pretty much. I mean, he's probably 25 feet.
25 or 20 feet, yeah, for sure. And big shot here. Debo early. Doesn't get all the way through.
No, but he snuck up there for at least a consistent circle 2 look here.
Again, the hot hand. Putting with the Malta. Unable to make it drop.
That Malta will forever be like an historical moment, I feel like, for Nantucket golf. All right, Casey, for the win. This is Todd Rainwater's phone because my camera could not pick it up.
All right. Casey White.
So that was probably a little closer than 25 feet. And congratulations, Casey. There it is. He finally gets the win after getting second in 2023. And he gets the jacket. This is an incredible photo by Todd Rainwater. I didn't know he was a photographer. You can see that Casey's just ecstatic for winning that. And here's his Instagram, socials post. If anybody wants to take a look at it, you can pause there. But yeah, shout out to Casey White, Paul Krans for that battle, Steve Brinster and Kyle Moriarty for hanging in there and really making an exciting finish there for us.
And of course, Josh DiBattista with that hot 59 in the last round. I mean, what a win from Casey. Didn't have his best stuff. We saw him miss a lot of putts, be frustrated at times, but that's going to happen in the rain. You're never going to have your best game. In the end, he was really able to toughen up, be the professional, and take it down. And yeah, he came here to win. He did exactly that. So kudos to him.
Absolutely. And thanks for being here, Harry. I appreciate your commentary. It was great having you in the booth.
Anytime. Always happy to do it. Hope you all enjoyed this GMT production, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Stay tuned, folks. We got some more exciting coverage for the end of the year, including Cold Hollow coverage and potentially some Dragonfly footage. Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching.